Good morning. How y'all doing today? This is just a little something I wanted to let y'all know that happened to me on Saturday night. I got out there and I started driving. I was doing good. It was a little slow, then it started picking up, and I picked up this drunk gentleman with his two cousins, and they had two stops. One to drop the two cousins off, and then the other gentleman. So I had one person sitting up in the front seat and the two cousins sitting in the back. On the way to dropping the cousins off first, they proceeded to tell me that the gentleman sitting in the front seat beside me, who I already had an innocence bag or a vomit bag ready for him, because he just looked that way, like, he may throw up at any time, proceeded to tell me that in the matter of like less than 5 minutes, he drank 2 large bottles of vodka back to back. So I was on guard there as well, especially about, the puking situation. And he seemed to be a little agitated as well, because he got kicked out of the bar, and it was his birthday, 22nd birthday. So I proceeded to drop the other two gentlemen off. Very nice gentlemen. They are very cordial and very, very nice and respectful, and had no problems with them. So start driving the next gentleman off. We'll say his name is Jay. And he starts talking sexually to me about, that all he wanted was a blowjob. That's what he wanted. And I guess prior to me picking him up. And I had one hand on the steering wheel and my other hand on the shift thing, the park, reverse, neutral, drive, whatever. I had that hand there, and again, he's still sitting in the passenger seat right next to me. At that very moment, he grabs my hand, and I realize that he is exposed at the same time as he's grabbing my hand. And you women know that when a man grabs your hand and starts bringing it towards that area, the member area, the penis area, something is about to happen. Well, I quickly jerked my hand back, and I said, that ain't gonna happen. I grabbed my mace. I showed it to him. I said, you have 2 options. You can get out right now, or you can sit there. You can be quiet. Keep your hands to yourself, and I'll get you safely to your destination. He chose the latter. But along the way towards his destination, to his house, we were like 2 blocks away from his house. He decides to say, no, take me to 40th Ave. Almost back to the same place, the same area where I picked him up. Maybe 5 blocks away from where I had picked him up originally. And so he begins to give me directions to get him there. And then he's trying to apologize to me. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I told you just to be quiet. Where do I need to take you? And get you out of my car as quick as possible. The only reason why I did not kick him out immediately is because the man could barely stand up. And me being a nurse, I did not want that liability on me that I drop somebody off and they walk out in the middle of the road and get themselves killed. So finally get him over to the 40th Avenue. It was some sort of hotel because he had called somebody, and I guess he was going to get his blowjob there. It's the first time that I've experienced anything like that. I've had advances towards me. I've had men try to like kiss me on my cheek, and I've stopped that, things like that. But for somebody to grab my hand and try to have me physically touch an exposed penis, nobody should have to go through that. I was rattled. I was shaken. I was rattled. I did not have enough time to calm down before I got the next ping, because this is now the 2-3 o'clock rush, the bar rush, getting people home, and I'm getting surge. I'm getting good surge money. So I went and picked up the next people. Well, thank goodness, going back into Ybor again, trying to get down the street and to get to these next people. Thank God, 2 blocks, it takes me at least 10 minutes. That gives me a little bit of time to decompress a little bit, but not enough time to truly get over it yet. And these, the people that I picked up, they were wonderful. I took them to their destination off of Del Mabry. Right prior to me dropping them off, I get another ping to pick up somebody else around the block from where I dropped them off. And then so I take them to Eastlake. Or I take her to Eastlake, to her house. I picked her up in an apartment complex and I dropped her off at her house over in Eastlake area in northwest Tampa. I'm still shaken. I haven't had a chance to get a hold of Uber yet. I did 1-star him, but the app would not let me give type any information in or anything like that. It just only allowed me to do 1-star. I couldn't click other. I couldn't click writer was rude, writer whatever. I couldn't click any of that. It would just allow me to do 1-star. And for some reason, the Uber app has been doing that to me lately. I don't know if everybody else has been having the same experience, but I had that night and have been for a while. Basically, since the new app has come out. So anyway, on to my story. I go to pick up this lady who had a very bad experience with her boyfriend that night. So she was telling me her story. I was telling her my story. And it was nice to finally be able to talk to somebody about it. It being 3:30 in the morning at this point. But I was still shaken. I was really shaken. I had taken her from Eastlake all the way up to Wesley Chapel. That was a pretty nice ride. She and I started laughing. We connected instantly. It was something that God put us aligned us together to help each other out with the situations that we were going through together. Um, I'm not going to get into her story. It was pretty rough. It was pretty bad. Um, but thank God that we met up together. And anyway, so after I had dropped her off, while we were driving everything, I have my tablet. I always have my tablet with me. I had started to email Uber, to Uber support and stuff, and she took the tablet and was typing for me. It was very nice of her. Maybe I shouldn't have, talked to her about it, but, with what she was going through and everything, I felt comfortable enough to talk to her about it. And so, therefore, she helped me compose and get the letter off, or the message off to Uber. And I didn't get it completely completed before I dropped her off. And so right as I was dropping her off, I got another ping to pick somebody up, and that happened to be from Wesley Chapel Motel to Tampa International for an airport run. And so I had just taken a quick moment real quick to finish up the message to Uber and send it off. And by the time I get to the destination to pick up the gentleman from the hotel to take him to TIA for his trip home, I was getting a phone call from the critical response team. I was really impressed of how fast, less than 5 minutes, I get a phone call from the critical response team. I told him at the time it was not a good time to talk because I was in the process of picking somebody up. However, I'm still shaken up about it. I did give him a little bit more detail over the phone before the passenger came down from his room. And that's another thing. Why don't people just wait outside? Once they see you're coming and, they get notified, hey, you're within range, they need to be there. But I'm digressing here. It was a really bad situation, and like I always say, always be prepared for everything. And and thank God I always have my mace where I can reach it real quick. Nobody knows that it's hanging there, and I can reach it, and I can be holding on to it, still as I'm driving, should I need to use it. And I will use it if I have to. But, I was very impressed, though, however, of how fast the critical response team got back in touch with me. Less than 5 minutes. Seriously, less than 5 minutes. After I got through with the rest of my trips, because I was leaving the airport, and I got pinged to turn around and go pick up somebody to bring them to Palm Harbor. And then once I get to Palm Harbor, before I drop them off, I'm getting pinged to pick somebody up to just take them a few blocks down the road. And that last trip that I took was the smallest amount of money that I made all night long, and that was $3.91 for the whole night. As I started at about 11:30 and ended around 5, I made $163. $164.65, somewhere in there. Anyways, however, I think if we have to go through something like that, we should be compensated for the traumatic experience that are going through. This is now Tuesday morning, and I'm still dealing with what I went through Saturday night. And after I dropped off my last passenger and everything, I had to stop off at the store to pick up a few things before coming home. And so when I finally stopped off at the store, I called the critical response team phone number and everything, and they said it is now a full active investigation. They could not tell me if he was going to be deactivated from the platform, but they did say, however, by the information that you gave us, and you were so detailed in the information, that more than likely he will be deactivated from being able to use Uber. That doesn't give me great comfort, that more than likely. And they said they would not be able to ever tell me whether or not this man, this pervert, this sexual predator, would be able to tell me whether or not he's going to be knocked off the platform. But I sat there and told him, I said, these passengers can make false accusations against us, but yet we have to be deactivated. You deactivate us on the stupid accusations with no proof. And I have proof, and I'll send it to them. But they don't want it. But because they clearly understand, and they could hear in my voice that that I was upset, that nobody should have to go through this. Nobody. No man, no woman, nobody. No matter what you're doing, driving Uber, driving for Lyft, driving for whatever, working your normal job, an office job, a 9-to-5 job, a nurse, anything. Yes, even me as a nurse, I had the sexual innuendos and the groping or whatever, and I've been able to stop that, and thank goodness, the 3 years that I worked in the mental health field and the 11 years that I worked in the ER, I do know how to handle myself, and I grew up in Polk County. And if anybody knows Polk County, you don't mess with Polk County. Look up Grady Judd. He's our sheriff there. A lot of y'all might already know him. He's very popular on the TV. Anyway, I'm digressing again. But nobody should have to go through this. And I really think that we should be compensated for the anguish, the just the sheer fear of what might have happened, what could have happened if I did not stand my ground and let him know, and under no circumstances was anything going to happen except for me to get him safely home, or he was going to be on the side of the road. Maybe I should have just dropped him off as soon as that happened, but like I said, the man could barely stand up. He was able to cognitively grab my hand and try to place it to his exposed member. Everybody, be safe out there. Be prepared for things like this to happen. They can happen. They do happen. Every day, every night. Have something with you to protect yourself. Whether it be mace, whether it be a screwdriver, whether it be whatever it may be. Have something to protect yourself. As a good Uber-tuber says, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. That's all I'm saying as well. I love you guys. Thank you for being with me, and just know that I love you guys. I pray for you guys all the time. And that y'all are always safe when you get out on the road. I do the same for myself when I'm on the road. I know I was protected that night. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here right now talking to you guys. Thank you for listening to my story. I love you. And y'all have a wonderful, blessed day. And I'll keep you updated because I'm supposed to be getting the critical response team is supposed to be getting back in contact with me according to what they have said in the email and over the phone. Oh, by the way, they did say that I could call the police and have the police department go through, it's called LERT, LERT.uber.com. But I did not have the time to go through all of that yesterday. I'm sorry, Sunday. As soon as I got home, I was going to North Florida. It was a 4-hour trip to go see my boys. And that's what healed me, was to go see my boys. And thank God I had that. That was my salvation, was going to see my boys and have them help me, just being around them, erase some of the memory for me. Again, I love you guys. Thank you for subscribing. And have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful day. And I'll talk to you next time. Ciao.